So there me and my wife were one summer night in 2015. I had just finished playing Final Fantasy I for the day, and we had just put our little infant daughter, Sophie, to bed. We had just finished watching Hell Money together, which is a pretty interesting episode in its own right. I mean, there's not really anything sci-fi or supernatural about that one, is there? It's practically not an X-Files episode, really, and we had decided to watch one more, just one more before Betty Bye. So we allowed Netflix to start automatically playing the next episode, and yes, even though by this point I had already had myself 6 or 7 beers, still, right off the bat, something could not help but feel instantly off about this episode to me. I mean, the first shot we ever get, the first shot you ever see is the bottom of this cherry picker. That's been rigged to look just like the bottom of some giant Star Warsian alien spaceship to fake you out for the briefest of moments. And then there's this guy called Rocky working the cherry picker. He's radioing something in about how all the power is out as these two happy-go-lucky teens go cruising by, completely unaware of any of this. The boy turns around and tells the girl, "I think I'm in love with you." And she's all like, "What?" And everything's all cute and hunky-dory until suddenly their truck mysteriously stalls out for no apparent reason, coming to a complete stop. And before they can figure out exactly what the heck's going on here, suddenly there's this flash of white light and a UFO appears, along with 2 pretty typical-looking X-Files aliens. "Harold! What are those things?" shouts the girl. And Harold shouts back, "How the hell should I know?" And by this point, I remember vividly thinking to myself with almost the slightest of chuckles, Jesus Christ, is the X-Files just getting lazy or something? But then, of course, immediately after, as the 2 aliens begin to drag their 2 teen abduction victims away, suddenly, another completely different spaceship shows up. And this thing drops down! This 1960s Ray Harryhausen, Jason and the Argonauts thing. And before the viewer, or in this case me, has a second to process just what the hell is going on here, one of the aliens starts speaking perfect English. Perfect American English. And he turns around to ask his fellow alien,
"Jack, what is that thing?"
They are both now clearly just men in suits. And Jack shouts back,
"How the hell should I know?"
"How the hell should I know?" Same as what Harold had just shouted to the girl about them. What the hell is going on here? Who is abducting who? And what, for the love of Christ, is that? Read my book. Ladies and gentlemen, submitted for your approval for the X-Files Society, Jose Chung's From Outer Space. For the rest of the episode, Jose Chung is this charming and flamboyant Truman Capote-style novelist who is interviewing Scully about the events that we've just seen taking place. Well after the facts, he's interviewing her about everything that happened involving these 2 teens, these 2 dudes clearly dressed up as aliens, whatever the hell that thing is. Lord Kinboat, I presume. And of course, all of the bleepin' colorful townsfolk and law enforcement somehow involved in the case. After she and Mulder have already shut the whole case down and moved on. And it's very important to mention that in no way is Mr. Chung trying to uncover some big government alien conspiracy or anything like that, or prove the existence of extraterrestrial life, because in his own words, unlike Mulder and the lone gunman, interestingly enough, finds most of that to be redundant at best. No, in his own words, he simply is just trying to write something that he calls the nonfiction science fiction, a nonfiction account of the events that took place surrounding this particular case, because he strongly feels that such a thing would automatically land him on the bestsellers list, thus making him a whole lot of money.
Money.
For his work. You see, Jose Chung is very much the exact opposite of Fox Mulder, in the sense that he's not some quote-unquote truth seeker. He's not some hell-bent FBI agent on some holy self-righteous quest of some kind. No, he's just a guy that loves to write books and loves to get paid for it, and nothing more. And yet still, strangely enough, which one of them really gets to the essence of truth better, him or Mulder? The truth is out there?
Truth is as subjective as reality.
Truth is as subjective as reality. And reality is not all that reliable either, if you ask me. My money is on Chung. And it is very well worth mentioning that you can honestly say the exact same thing about the person who wrote this particular episode. Darren Morgan, aka the Fluke Man, aka this shape-shifting sexual trickster. Both of them were played by him because he, too, simply loves to write. He loves to write for TV and movies and get paid for it, and nothing more. And yet still, not only did he write some of the best X-Files episodes of all time, but more importantly, there's always been something very truth-telling, something prophetic about his big 3 works, from the original original series run. I dare you to find a single top 10 list that does not include all 3 of these works by him. Humbug, Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose, and of course, Jose Chung's From Outer Space. If you have not seen these episodes, go watch them. And maybe this one too.
I'm just gonna kill you. You ready?
But the 2 biggest truths I really do think that Darren Morgan uncovers with this episode is that, number 1, how absolutely ridiculous and flimsy all of these abduction conspiracies really are. Which unfortunately does kind of also help to reveal perhaps how ridiculous and flimsy the entire premise of the X-Files show is. But don't feel too bad, X-Files fans, because it's even worse. I feel this episode helps to show how ridiculous and flimsy our entire reality is too. At the back end of the episode, when Mulder finally accidentally bumps into one of these 2 guys, one of these 2 U.S. Air Force pilots who were dressed up as aliens, performing all sorts of mock UFO abductions, the explanation that he gives to Mulder about what's really going on with all of these UFO sightings and alien shenanigans.
Yeah, the enemy sees an American recon plane, they start shooting. They see a flying saucer from another galaxy, they hesitate.
Abductions.
Don't know as much about them. I'm just the pilot.
What do you do with the abductees?
Take them back to the base. Let the doctors work on them. Nothing physical, they just mess with their minds.
Hypnosis.
At the base, I seen people go into an ordinary room with an ordinary bunch of doctors and come out absolutely positive they were probed by aliens.
If that were true, that would make the most sense to me. That would seem the most believable. Same as how I find the explanation I was given in the JFK documentary, The Smoking Gun, that JFK potentially got his head accidentally blown off from friendly fire from the Secret Service in the car behind him. That makes the most sense to me why there'd be a huge cover-up. That's embarrassing. Most powerful man in the world accidentally getting his head blown off by the people who are supposed to protect him? Yeah, I would want to cover that up from the public too. But for most people out there, I understand that these kind of explanations just aren't sexy enough. They just sound too simple. They're not remarkable enough. And even worse, they don't even give us the illusions of order and truth that we're always so craving. I know I'm in no way the first person to say this, but the real reason why so many of us latch on to these conspiracy theories in the first place is because by doing so, doesn't matter how horrific the conspiracy is, they help to give us the illusion of order, the illusion of firm ground beneath our feet. They help to give us the illusion that somebody, some secret society, some Illuminati, some cigarette smoking man is driving the bus. But I hate to tell you, there just simply isn't. I hate to tell you, but nobody's driving the bus, and I'm pretty sure the brake lines are cut. Enjoy the ride! There is no ultimate conspiracy, there is no ultimate truth to reveal other than the personal ones that we discover for ourselves every day by being honest with ourselves and living accordingly to that. Which finally brings us to number 2, the number 2 big thing that I really got out of Jose Chung's From Outer Space. If you really want to get to as much personal truth and fulfillment as possible for yourself, for the short few moments that you are here, don't go out there on some holy, self-righteous quest of some kind, on some crazy holy crusade. Do not ever get yourself too lost within your own maze. You'll just get killed by a minotaur. Do not ever try to look the truth directly in the eyes. You'll just get turned to stone, same as if you were looking at Medusa. You can only kill that bitch by indirectly looking at her. Do not ever try to make sense of Lord Kinboat, who definitely looks like he'd be right at home hanging out with these 2 other mythological creatures. I wonder if there's any connection there with his design. That is what Kinboat represents to me. That which we will never understand. That which will always seem crazy and impossible, and yet there it is, staring us right in the face. Like some clown in some storm drain somewhere offering us a balloon. This is a very, very scary universe, my friends. So please take from the example of the fictional writer Jose Chung, the real-life writer of the episode Darren Morgan, and Stephen King too, who actually touched on a lot of the stuff we talked about through the character of Bill Denborough and through the monologues of It and his greatest work of all time, It. Just go out there and find something that you love wholeheartedly and devote yourself to it, whatever it may be. Whether it be writing, I'm a fan, or making pizzas or organizing softball teams or whatever. Something that brings love to you and hopefully to other people. Go out there and find somebody to love, because that's the best love of all. Love is the only thing that will ever make 1,000,000% sense to us. This cannot be understated. Love really is our only protection. It is the only life preserver we'll ever have in this ocean of madness that we call consciousness. And you can roll your eyes about this all you want. I can practically hear you rolling your eyes about it from here.
Love. Is that all you men think about?
But love is probably the only thing that saved Mulder in the end, saved him from ever going fully bat-crap crazy. His love for Scully and hers for him, and hasn't that always been the heart of the entire show? Not to mention that the only reason why Mulder probably ever became so hellbent in the first place is that he had such unloving parents that they would actually sacrifice his sister up to alien entities. So do yourself a favor and accept that the biggest cover-up of all time, of your entire life, is how much you just want love. And how you try to convince yourself that that's not what this is all about. So do yourself a favor. Get some loving while the loving's good. Because one more time, Jose Chung, if you could.
Then there are those who care not about extraterrestrials, searching for meaning in other human beings. Rare or lucky are those who find it. For although we may not be alone in the universe, in our own separate ways on this planet, we are all alone.